You are listening to an update from Washington with the Congressman from Alabama's 1st Congressional District, Bradley Byrne. Now from our nation's capital, Congressman Byrne.
Well, welcome to this edition of an update from Washington. I'm Seth Morrow, and today we're talking with Congressman Bradley Byrne about our nation's spending problems. Congressman, why are you so worried about our country's spending habits?
Seth, our national debt is over $18 trillion. Now, my grandson McGuire, whose first birthday is coming up right around Labor Day, his share of the national debt, even before his first birthday, is already over $40,000. And what's really driving this is so-called mandatory spending. That's the sort of spending that we in Congress don't have any control over. It goes outside of our appropriations process. So we're not even dealing with the major driving force behind this explosive growth in our debt.
So you touched on that. So what is the difference between what is known as mandatory spending and discretionary spending?
Well, discretionary spending, which is about a third of what we spend, is the money we come in and then we actually have appropriations bills for. We actually make decisions to spend money for this and don't spend money for that. So it's national defense, it's the federal highway program, it's agricultural programs, it's medical research. It's the basic things that most people think about when they think about federal spending. So discretionary spending is what we have control over. Mandatory spending is like these entitlement programs, welfare, food stamps, Medicaid, governmental housing assistance, Obamacare. And unfortunately, Congress has no control over that. If you are a beneficiary of those programs and you qualify because of your income, you get the money automatically and we don't get any say about it one way or the other.
So what can we do? What are your ideas for getting that mandatory spending under control?
Well, $750 to $800 billion of what we're spending is in what we call means-tested entitlement programs. It's those welfare programs, welfare, Medicaid, food stamps, et cetera. Those programs have ballooned in the last several years. Now, at the beginning of the recession, we understood that because it's a recession, people thrown out of work, et cetera. But now that the recession is clearly over and we've been in a growth phase, those programs have stayed at this very high level of spending. So we need to get those out of being entitlement programs altogether. We need to take that money, block grant it to the states where we're appropriating it every year and control how much we're spending, and then let each state decide for itself how they're going to address the needs of their poverty population. And one of the things we need to build into that is a requirement that if you're in that group, that we're actually getting you into the workforce or we're getting you into a job training program where you're getting the skills you need for the jobs that are out there. So I think we need to completely rethink all these welfare programs, not just to save the money, but because we need to get people out of poverty and into the workforce who are presently in poverty.
And I also understand that you have a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. So how would that work?
Well, we have this at the state level in Alabama where you actually have a provision of the Constitution that says that you can't spend more than you take in. We do that in Montgomery. The legislature's going to go through this very difficult special session because they can't spend more than they're taking in. They're having to make hard decisions. Well, nobody in Washington has to make hard decisions because there's no requirement for us to balance the budget. I think the federal government, the United States Congress, should be like every family in America, every business in America, every state in America, every municipality in America, and balance our budget. Don't spend any more money than you're bringing in, and we should put that in the Constitution.
We seem to be running out of time, Congressman. I appreciate you discussing these important topics today.
Well, as always, I appreciate people listening in. It's very important for us to have this. So please call into our office in Mobile or in Summerdale or go online at byrne.house.gov and let us hear from you.
Good deal.
You have been listening to an update from Washington with Congressman Bradley Byrne. Congressman Byrne encourages you to contact him with any comments or questions. You can email him online at byrne.house.gov or find him on Facebook under U.S. Representative Bradley Byrne. Stay tuned to this station next week for another timely report from our nation's capital. This broadcast has been pre-recorded.